Hello. Hi, everyone. Today, as you've probably seen on the flyer and the invitation, the title of our workshop or our training today is called Ped-ai-gogy, AI-gogy, Pedagogy, TutorBot Building Workshop, Harnessing AI in Education Without Losing the Human Spark. And so you might kind of be interested in what exactly does that mean? And obviously it piqued your interest. We're going to do a couple of little different things here today. I'm going to go over the agenda in a couple of minutes. But as you know, AI tools are really becoming common in classrooms. We've learned from many of you who are repeat, participants in these trainings that some of you are becoming intermediate users, even yourself. And so maybe this was something that you thought like, let's, explore a little bit more beyond maybe like ChatGPT. I feel like that's probably the first tool that educators explore. Maybe you can write in your chat pod what tool was the first AI tool that you explored, and just out of an experiment here to see, because that's just my hypothesis, but I'm curious to see if that is true. So we are going to introduce a new tool today, and I just want to preface it because I'll introduce myself in case you don't know who I am. My name is Dawn Peri, and I'm the Global Content Lead at the Learning Passport in UNICEF. And I lead a lot of the things related to digital pedagogy and teacher training and advise on those sorts of topics now in 48 countries and over 11 or 12, 11 million learners. And I've been working with Jamaica for a very long time since they've launched, which is really nice. But I have been recently, probably since the last couple of years, really, well, I've been working in AI myself since probably 2019, but been very, very busy in the AI education space because learning design, I was in academia and did faculty development, and I worked in Harvard prior to this. And AI education is really part of teaching and learning now. And a lot of the programs we use have AI. And so for teachers to say, I don't use AI and I don't want to use AI, I guarantee you're using AI even if you don't realize it from your phones and your devices and your email. And it's really kind of baked into everything we do. So it's super important for us to think about how we're going to use it ethically and what types of tools may be appropriate to use. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about using AI, keeping humans in the loop, creating a little bit more of a customized experience, and like how to figure out to get the best out of our tools and our processes. Um, Whoa, I just jumped ahead. So, agenda. Um, so I'm first, and I'm doing this now, kind of an overview of chatbots for teaching and learning, AI literacy, pedagogy, tips for prompting and working with customized bots, just like kind of very, very briefly. I did promise to talk about a couple of things, and I think that were brought up in your flyer. So I don't want to spend all the whole time chatting. So I'm going to then pass it off to Jessica Autry. So, and I think I put your name is Awtery, apologize. Senior Vice President of Sales at Boodlebox. And she's going to do a little bit of an overview because Boodlebox, I've worked with probably, I don't know, 6 or 7 different LLMs, and I came upon Boodlebox by more than one scholar practitioners that I know pretty well. And so I was really excited because my part of my job is like reviewing content, reviewing programs to make sure like it's safe and it's effective, that it's a good, like it's not too expensive, that we don't have redundancy, all of those types of things. And so I was really excited to see a lot of the features that we do have at Boodlebox. And she's going to just kind of go over the little bit of the origin story, very, very brief, some of the main features that sets Boodlebox apart. And then we have Pearson Dillon, who's in business development. And although he's just an intern, I'm really impressed with all of the things that he already can do and knows about AI, because I love in UNICEF how we bring youth into the conversation. And I think it's very important to bring their voices in and co-create with them. So I'm really excited to have a younger voice here today presenting. And so not to call you out on that, Pearson, but it's really great to have you here. Demo of the Boodlebox platform and tools is kind of what he's going to go through. Some of the features of the built-in bots, because we do have a really big group. Originally, we really wanted to do like everybody in breakout rooms and produce our own bots in breakout rooms, but it's going to be a little bit challenging with lots and lots of people. So we're going to show you how to build a bot, and we're going to show you, we're going to send you a couple of bots, and we're going to do like a live co-creation of a bot. But Boodle actually has some customized bots that are very specific to your use case. And we have gone through the process of like collating and curating some knowledge, what you call it, or content base off of the Jamaica curriculum that we're going to kind of like live co-create together, which is kind of scary for me, but I think because we're live streaming and but it'll be okay. Yeah. I'm going to ask for some of you subject matter experts in the topic, obviously, as I'm going through that. But we're going to co-create a bot together. And we're going to show you a couple of like the helper bots that are built in, things like helping with prompting, because the key to getting better at teaching and learning are things related to like how to get better at prompting. And we'll show you a couple of the features that are involved with the tool itself and just in practice in general. And I'm not selling Boodlebox, and you could use any tool at all. Prompting is a skill that I think is important to use. Um, and we're going to show you a couple of, oh, and I created a bot for you. So I was going to show that to you as well. So, and share it in the chat pod. So for those of you who are teachers that have in your school district learning passports, so let me, and we'll have at least some room for FAQ and wrap up, but let me go to the next. So if you do have a learning passport in your school, many of you don't, and I understand that. We do have a course on the platform, as you have seen, that we'd like you to take. There's like that little assessment in a short video, and there's like after this training, there's a post survey. And once you do that, it's only going to be like, I don't know, between this training and that, it's not that long. But this is like an hour and a half training tops, and that's maybe 15 minutes or 12 minutes long, that course. So a little micro learning. And when you finish out your survey, your pro survey, you'll be able to download a certificate for your professional development today for learning. If you are watching this on live YouTube because you weren't able to get in because you were past the 500 participants, you can still get your certificate. You can watch this video, go to the platform and take that post assessment and survey and get your certificate as well. And I will try to add or link any of the resources that I share in the YouTube channel if we can figure out how to do that. I think that is pretty easy. Um, okay, so I was going to say we have something called How to Administer the Learning Passport. And so I created a custom bot just for you on how to, like it's like a user manual custom bot of like help you in case you don't have lots of ICT directors or admins in your school. If you have teachers that are struggling with, or if you have an ICT director that's having any challenges with the learning passport, even for the ministry here, you now have your own very own LP admin user manual bot. So I did that for you, and we're going to create a new bot today. Um, Oops. Oh, I think I just entered in. Hold on. Okay, to talk a little bit about pedagogy, I don't want to spend too much time, but we really want to make sure why is it important we're talking about AI and pedagogy. We want to make sure that we don't have children who are left behind or teachers that are left behind. We want to close the digital divide. Unfortunately, in lower and middle income countries, our digital divide is even wider. And so it's even more important that, or I feel it's really important that we spread the AI literacy and training as much as possible. So I'm really excited to have all of you today. And we also want student agency. So we see that there's some people think that AI is going to improve teachers' lives and make them have less time, they're going to spend less time on teaching and learning. Some of the research is saying a lot of teachers are worried about plagiarism and spending a lot of time trying to detect plagiarism. And so that's taking a little bit more time out of their daily lives. And although it's making it easier to maybe create a lesson plan or a rubric or a multiple choice test, they are spending a lot of their energy trying to, see if kids are cheating. So what instead I'm going to talk about today in a couple of slides briefly, but is thinking about how we want to give students some agency because AI is the future and they're going to use it no matter what. And we want to be able to model good AI literacy ourselves as teachers, as educators, as adults, because we didn't do a very good job of that with phones, right? Did we? I know I am sometimes a workaholic and I'm looking down at my phone too often in front of my own children, and I'm guilty of that. And as far as my AI use, I want to model that good behavior and talk about it. And I talk about that openly with my kids because I want to do better. So we want to give them agency. We want to ask them like how they feel about AI. If they're working on a project, we want to ask them what parts of this project do you think are appropriate for AI and what isn't. And you'll find that as you engage students in these conversations, they're less likely to cheat because then they start really thinking, having that critical thinking. And we really want them to have learning and not rely on it and use it as like a Google search engine. So I'll talk a little bit about that. And also because we're bringing in Boodlebox, I really feel like it has so many positive features because as it relates to the way that you're shaping policy. I sit on a board of education in my own district and help to create, shape, and evaluate education and technology policy myself. And I know that with AI, we have like some of these are the big six. The University of Texas, their website actually has these big six. So I grabbed them from there: privacy, security, hallucinations, misalignment, bias, ethics, and cognitive offloading. And so we want to think about how can we as a practice, as an educator or as a school administrator or a government official, whoever you are, how can we act and engage in a way with AI to mitigate some of those risks? And then also thinking about what are the opportunities of AI, which are things like jobs and differentiated learning, how we're able to adapt content. So one of the things that we've been doing, for example, for Jamaica is like creating more culturally relevant materials and inserting more, audio voices that sounds more locally relevant. And so AI has that capability at a lower cost and a faster rate, right? And it also has customized and personalized learning because I was an educator for over 10 years and I know how hard it is to meet the needs of every learner. You have some that are very high achieving, you have some that are can be, struggling, you have some in the middle, and we have a wide range of abilities and disabilities as well, right? So AI can help to address that when we're kind of just like thinking of like how can I teach and learn? How can I teach this material and think about being inclusive and giving us ideas? Um, when we think about research on AI and learning, it's what's the difference between processing and learning. Just because we're like getting that information faster doesn't mean that we're actually committing it to long-term memory. So if we have working memory of long-term memory, we really want to keep it into the long-term memory. And so we don't want AI to cheat us out of that. We need to make sure that there's a bit of friction because learning has to be hard a little bit, right? For us to like actually get it. Some of my biggest learnings are like when I've been completely embarrassed or like when I've like really struggled. like my dissertation, like getting my doctorate, that's like something that was like hard, right? Like things that are hard. So you don't want things that come easy to you because it's not, you want a little bit of friction, right? Memory formation, we see a lot of research on that. We want a little bit of effort, so that's what I just said. And the Google effects. I no longer say go Google it. Actually, in my house, it's like go like AI it. Like I don't even like my Alexa anymore because I feel like her technology is just like so low compared to what I can use in an AI app. So, but still, we don't want to use AI as like, give me the answer, give me the answer. We want to use it as a thought partner. We want it to like be like a side by side companion. So instead, I talk to my AI like multimodal like all day long, and I use like the camera and I use the audio and I teach and learn with it like on a regular basis. Like in my family, like we all talk to it. So it's like it's an interesting way of the future. Like we don't just Google things anymore. When we're talking about cognitive offloading, I'm almost done with the pedagogy stuff. I want to give enough time for everyone. We just want to make sure that it's we don't have like so uh cognitive offloading is like we basically don't want to give AI like we don't want to give AI like all of the work. We want to like do like some of that deep processing because even in some ways like cognitive offloading can be helpful. Like we have like writing, we can take notes and things like that. But we just want to prevent from we basically want to make sure that learning occurs. So I'm not going to go into this into like a really long scholarly talk, but I will send these PowerPoint slides. I've talked about this in a few different trainings in the past. Um, so basically, when you have an LLM that acts like a Google search engine that retrieves information, and the student is like kind of being lazy, right? And they're just like, I just want the answer. Can you just tell me what is like, 5 times 5? Like, I don't really want to figure it out and like try to memorize it. And then it just goes, okay, it's 25. That's not really going to help you. That's cognitive offloading. That's just going to give you the answer right away. It's going to process it and give it to you, but you may not remember it over time. So we have now LLMs are responding to this and knowing like what the research is saying that, I think we kind of have to like make a little bit more effort and we shouldn't just give kids the answer. That's what that was the whole thing of plagiarism, right? We don't want that. So now we have things like ChatGPT study mode, which is now like a toggle or like a setting that basically tries not to give students the answer and instead has like Socratic discussions of like, I don't know, what is 5 times 5? Or like, what is 25 times 5? Or what do you think it is? And like, that's not the right answer, but why don't you try looking at like, and so it kind of tries to engage with the child, and then if like the child gives an answer, it has some sort of guardrail, so it really acts like a tutor, just like you had a live tutor. The problem I see with ChatGPT study mode is it's too easy for like our young brains that have like kind of be tempted to just toggle it back, right? So some of the other tools they don't have that ability. Like Gemini's guided learning has this, and so does Conmingo. You can't toggle it back. But Conmingo is specifically for math and math curriculum, and it's on its own platform there. Boodlebox, I'll show you today. I think is great in terms of its interface. It doesn't have cognitive overload, which is another term of feeling like the overwhelm. And I don't know about you, if you want to put in the chat pod, how many of you feel AI tool overwhelm? So me, who's somebody who studies it constantly and learns every tool that could possibly like come out as much as I can. Last week was like insane. There were so many things I can't even I can't keep up. So it's normal to have cognitive overload with the AI news these days. But Boodlebox, as far as an interface, and I do have some background in UX, I think it does a really good job. So you'll see today, and I'm going to pass it over so you can take a look at the platform and you can take a look at some of the features. But the really cool thing is teachers can improve the design of assessments and activities to keep the human spark and joy in learning so that we don't have to worry so much about plagiarism detection. We can think about more authentic assessments and project-based learning and portfolio-based learning and things that are, I wouldn't say AI proof, but are going to spur like, it's like pedagogy, like that intrinsic, excited nature that children have like innately when they're younger and they just want to learn about the world. We want to keep that, right? So we don't want AI to take that away. So like we want to bring that human spark. We want to keep that human spark. And so when I'm going to pass this off instead of talking about it because I've talked about it before in prior things. But what I like to say is like, don't take the joy out of like the learning, the part that you like the best. So this is called the AI assessment scale. And when you are creating activities, whether whatever your subject matter is, and whatever demographic you're teaching, generally child-facing AI, in my opinion, shouldn't be, and UNICEF also feels it should be like secondary, tertiary, right? But some tools that you may be using could be child-facing that are younger that you don't even realize. However, if you're going to use child-facing AI, think about when is it most appropriate. I always say like one of the things that I would recommend is maybe using AI at the end, right? So you write your paper, you're about to turn it in, maybe you check it against a rubric. You are studying for SATs. You want to just check whether or not your math question is right. If it's wrong, you ask like, what did I do wrong? Or you ask it to create like another example of another hard problem for you to practice on. Other things you might think about is like, um, for example, Notebook LLM just came out with like the ability to make music. If you don't know, it can also make podcasts. Like if I was a musician, which I'm an amateur musician, I can sing, but I'm not going to sing for you. Well, maybe I'll sing for you. But like I wouldn't really want to outsource that, right? I like the joy of singing. So like why would I just give that to someone else? Or like if I like art and I want to paint, why would I give that to someone else? So that's a personal kind of decision as a is like a an adult that has a job, right? Like or whatever, a hobby. But think about how you're going to use it as a teacher too and how you're going to apply it. Because there may be times where you want to use AI fully, where it's complex and you're like, I want you to do a full rendering model of like a city or whatever, like code, or maybe you're doing no AI at all. So take a look at this. I'm going to hand it to you. I'm not going to go through it all. Um, I don't know why this is. Hold on. These are just some examples of different AI levels between all the way from no AI to full AI to AI exploration. And I just gave a couple of different subjects. And I've done presentations like this before, and I will include this link in the YouTube channel. And to lead into what's happening next, custom GPTs. So this is the work of Leon Furs, and he's a scholar practitioner as well in AI. He focuses on tertiary or higher education. But for those of you who are teacher trainers and adult education, this is super relevant. And so he created a custom GPT, which is a custom bot in what we're talking about today, called the AI assessment scale and like bot, made with ChatGPT. And I've created bots on multiple programs, including ChatGPT. But today we're going to talk a little bit about Boodlebox and the way you can create bots there. And that is it to mine. So I'm going to stop sharing, and we will pass it off to Jess or Miriam Edwards.
Hey there. So I am Jess. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes, you're good.
Okay, perfect. So thank you everyone. We're just thrilled to be here. Pearson and I have been interacting, Pearson more than I with Dawn, and really excited about kind of the things that are happening around the world regarding AI. So happy to be here to talk about Boodlebox as a tool and potential resource. So first, I do want to say that Boodlebox was built by a community of educators. It really is purpose-built AI infrastructure is the best way to think about it. And it's built as an educational ecosystem by educators like myself. So I'm a former teacher at the college level, and a number of my colleagues have also taught as well in the classroom, but also by experts with significant experience in AI. So combined, we have kind of over 30 years of education and educational technology experience. But then the best part, and one of my favorite things about Boodlebox is that wider community of educators. So our internal team is advised by educators in K-12 clear up through college, people with AI experience to really ensure that we are super hyper focused on education and workforce and what AI literacy and enablement means to all of you. So I'm going to dive into just a few of the core principles as to why Boodlebox was built and how it performs. And then I'll turn it over to Pearson for the part that everyone wants to see in terms of kind of Boodlebox in action. So Pearson, next slide. So first and foremost, the idea of privacy by design, accessibility by design. So this is something that we talk about a lot in the AI space, right? Is where is our information going? Do we still own our intellectual property? How is our information being used? So this is, you'll see in Boodlebox that we have built out a platform focused on a data minimization policy that provides you not only with institution control, where you maintain oversight of AI usage while still giving students some autonomy inside of this system, which we know is kind of critical for academic integrity and the responsible use of AI in education, but also the idea of compliance and certifications like FERPA, HIPAA, GDPR compliant. And that goes a step further even in our sub-processor agreements. So one of the things that you'll see about Boodlebox is the idea of multi-model access. We have sub-processor agreements in place with all of those LLMs that they can't store the data that is provided to them and they can't train the models on that data. Another key kind of component in terms of how do we approach our relationships with AI tools. Furthermore, there's anonymization and encryption built around all of the things, the knowledge that you put into Boodlebox, as well as the prompts and prompt engineering that you're designing. Next slide. Another pillar for us is the idea of equitable access. So Don talked about this a little bit, and it's something that is just really near and dear to us as we were building out Boodlebox and thinking about an AI-enabled world and where our students and learners interact and have the ability to really seek out opportunities to better themselves, to better understand the world around them, right? To keep the human at the center of that human AI relationship. So we believe that equitable access to AI is critical for ensuring that all students can benefit from an AI enhanced education. And we do this in a couple of ways. The first is that kind of multi-model intelligence. So instead of being locked into one AI's perspective, students, teachers like yourself, administrators can compare responses from the big LLMs like ChatGPT, Claude, or Gemini, and others within the same conversation in that safe, private, secure platform. So this allows you to really and enables you to help teach those ideas of critical thinking about AI capabilities and the limitations of the different models, because like we like to say, all AI is not created equal. And what I mean by that is that as educators, working with different AI models, they're better at different things. And you'll see that Pearson will actually talk through a little bit of that today as he talks about the different LLMs that are available in Boodlebox. But the other piece of this too is that knowledge integration. So being able to upload course materials, your syllabus, right? Resources that will then persist across conversations means that the AI responses inside of Boodlebox are contextually relevant to your specific curriculum. And your students are then able to access and take a part of and take advantage of that great wealth and repository of information that you've built out for them inside of your course. And one of the things that we've seen that we really love is it's not just about learning AI and becoming kind of gaining some domain excellence around AI, but also the way in which your students are able to access and master your content and the things that you're teaching them in a way that kind of meets them where they are in terms of their own AI journey. Next slide. So that leads us into this idea of literacy and enablement. We believe that learning is lifelong and it happens in many, many forms, right? And the idea is that collaborative learning with and about AI. So students and teachers, admins can work together in shared chats with multiple AI models, creating peer learning opportunities that enhance their interactions rather than if they're working with one AI model in and of itself. And what you'll see on this screen here that Pearson will talk quite a bit more about is we have this great feature built into Boodlebox called Coach Mode. Coach Mode is specifically built around, it'll give things like prompt engineering tips, feature discovery, alternative approaches. And so as you're using this inside of AI and you're prompting and you're learning and growing, your students are learning and growing in their use of AI, it Coach mode is really great in that it meets you where you are at your skill level. We like to say it's almost you plus one. And it helps you build your own AI literacy as you're, working in the system. And that really is built on three different things for us. The first one is domain mastery. So that's the idea of teaching and learning with AI to enable students in validating and explaining AI generated results. So this gives faculty and students the opportunity to collaborate, right, with multiple AI models in ways that can enhance subject matter understanding. It also gives you the ability to create specialized AI tutors, personalized learning experiences, right? The idea of interactive simulations that can help deepen their understanding of both AI, where they can critically think about it. Is the information that it's giving me accurate, right? Is it hallucinating? And if you know that term, we kind of like to talk about it as AI confidently lying to you, right? And it helps kind of decrease some of the apprehension that we have when we think about our ability to critically evaluate and explain and learn with AI generated content. The second piece of that then is that AI enablement, right? So teaching and learning about AI in helping your students understand when and how to use AI appropriately and responsibly. There's a lot of talk about the ethical and responsible use of AI. At Boodlebox, we think about it as kind of the effective and appropriate use of it, right? Not all AI is the same. And this gives you the opportunity to gain hands-on experience by selecting and using the appropriate AI tools for specific tasks. And then finally, on this idea, the human excellence. So we firmly believe that you as a human really are the future of this AI-enabled world, right? The human needs to stay in the middle of these kind of collaborations. Um, and so having transparent AI interactions and having the ability as teachers to build kind of customizable assignment boundaries allows you to maintain academic rigor and critical thinking development, all without really sacrificing the learning journey that we know builds genuine understanding. And to speak to quickly before I turn it over to Pearson, what Dawn had said earlier, ultimately, AI in education kind of requires both student choice and educator control. There's a balance there, right? And as we move through this kind of constantly changing and evolving AI-enabled world, it's important that we don't lose the productive struggle. And I loved how she talked about that, right? The kind of cognitive offloading, this thing that makes education so priceless, right? To ourselves as individuals, our families, our communities, and even a global society. So this is where, wherein our students or our learners are focused on the process over the product. AI can generate a product for them, right? But it's helping them understand that muddling through, right, this kind of productive struggle, which is something that you know so well. And we're just excited to share with you a tool that's built to support you in this endeavor. And Pearson, I will turn it over to you.
Thank you so much. And just bear with me while I switch screens real quick. Can everybody see my screen here?
Yes.
Awesome. So thank you, Jess, for the great introduction, and thank you, Dawn. And like Jess said, welcome to Boodlebox. I am currently, I know, an intern, but I'd always like to say that I'm pretty proficient in AI. I've been using it since it basically came out. So today I'll kind of be your tour guide, showing you what the platform looks like, what we offer, and how you guys can best use it if you guys decide to use it in your classrooms. So here's the main interface when you do load into Boodlebox. And I did drop, me and Don provided links to access to the website as well, so you can kind of follow along with me. So you see right here, once you log in, there's a few main pillars that we kind of focus on, and it's security, access, collaboration, and that last piece, AI literacy, which is super, super important as well. I kind of want to first walk through the access feature right here. And so you'll see right here down in this left corner right here where it says perplexity, that this is kind of where we start off with our access. If you click into here, you'll see that we offer all of these different models and kind of these different tabs, like our what we call our bot garage. Our bot garage kind of starts with the top level of our AI models. So here's the offering of all the models you get with the paid version, which I'm on. So we have all of the main models of ChatGPT up to 4.1, which ChatGPT is really, really good at large data, analytic data, and processing more math type style of use cases. We also offer Claude, which is Anthropic's model. Personally, one of my favorite models. I too build a lot of my bots on this model in the bot builder, which I'll demo later. We just released Claude for Sonnet and for Opus, which came out only a few weeks ago. And the next thing I like to say about this is we kind of stay on top of the AI market for you. As things develop, listen, I like to think that I'm pretty on top of the market, but things are constantly being posted, developed. ChatGPT 5 came out today. So I've been testing that all day, and obviously it'll take a few weeks for things to get updated. But it's really nice because when using this platform and stay up to date with AI literacy, you won't really have to worry about too much, as you can kind of keep up with it as a platform updates with us. We also have Gemini, which is Google's model. This is really, really good. It's has the largest context window, and I'll kind of break that down, and has the largest mouth. So as you kind of build a chat, it's really, really good at processing long chats. If you're really making and working out things in a chat and brainstorming, I really recommend 2.5 Pro if you have access to it. Inflection, super unique model. One of my personal favorites for building bots on. It's an emotionally intelligent bot trained on human emotions. So if there's any kind of therapy or use cases where you're using it for more of an emotional touch to a bot, definitely recommend building this. Then we also have a few other bots right here. This is Llama, Meta's model, and then Amazon. When this is the same thing with the AI literacy piece, Amazon, while not being the most, or Nova's model not being the most advanced models, they're really, really good for baselining different LLMs. So as you kind of get familiar with the different platforms, you're like, well, what LLM do I use? You can kind of start off with Nova or one of these more basic models and then compare and contrast different LLMs to kind of get used to their different quirks or different features. We also offer a French large language model, which is a really cool. We have their code model, their traditional Mistral large language model, and then they're also their image generation. We also offer web research models. These are connected to the internet. My favorite being Perplexity. Perplexity is an intelligent large language model that instantaneously calls the internet and links to where it gets its sources from. So really, really powerful for finding things to buy on the internet, finding research, and stuff like that. We also offer Semantic Scholar for the higher ed people like myself. It's linked to millions and millions of scholarly papers. So it's really cool if you're kind of in that field to be able to have access to this, and it links it directly to that research paper. And then second to last, we have our image generation, which is really, really cool as well. We offer all of these Dolly, Ideogram, Imagine 3.0, and Stable Diffusion. And all of these different models are unique in the different ways they produce and provide images. And so it's really cool to be able to test out what products you like the best without having to go out and buy it all on different platforms. And so one of the main reasons we offer these is, and I like to make a comparison here, is when you're building a house, right? You don't just use a hammer. And what I mean by that is, like, yes, ChatGPT might be the best model out there right now, and it's really, really good, but you're not just going to take a hammer and make a house. When you're building a foundation for students in education, you're finding ways to build a class, right? You're not going to use one tool. You're going to have access to a lot of different tools right here. So when we provide all these models, is give you access and give you a toolbox to use these tools in different use cases. So we have our large language models. I'm kind of going to take one step down into our Boodlebots.
And I just wanted to also, sorry, I also wanted to say another positive that I like that you're able to toggle is that you actually have more stability too. So if in the future, like any of these models were to go down and not work, you could toggle to another. And in some of the LLMs that we work with, like ChatGPT, you can't toggle to another one. So I like that feature as well. And plus, we sometimes need to use ones that are kind of lower, right? So we have that ability to do that as well for cost. Go ahead.
Thank you. And so kind of taking that one step down, we have our large language models, which are our biggest tools. And then we have our Boodlebots or more customized solutions for different use cases. And when I mean use cases, like when you load up into a chat, you're like, okay, what am I going to do today? That's a use case of, oh, if I'm going to build a learning plan, or I'm going to make a quiz, or I'm going to grade homework. Those are different use cases. So we've built out a bunch of these use cases here, as you can see on this tab right here. And there's a ton of these folders, right? And all of these folders are filled with custom bots. And I'll kind of go through an example in a little bit, just to show you in the teaching tab how many custom bots we've built out at the company here to give access to different educators. And you can see from accessibility and assignments, quiz right here for the more higher education, and then down here, the TeachBot syllabus and the TeachBot plan, which I have an example of later, are really, really powerful. And so as you're working through different problems, right, yes, you can use a large language model, a regular AI model like Claude or Perplexity to kind of get that baseline and build your knowledge. But then when you're kind of getting down to the nitty gritty, I truly suggest building out or finding a Boodlebot, or now our third tier, which are custom bots, which are the most precise solutions to different use cases. And so you'll see right here, these are some of the custom bots I have access to and have built myself. This is the one LP user manual bot that we'll go through that Don built earlier. And I personally built out one earlier, which is a Marvel math tutor. I'm a big superhero fan, so I'll kind of walk you through all of the fun things I got to make with this. But that's kind of the level of access we give. And so on top of the access here in that little tab, you're also able to toggle to the right here and have a whole plethora of AI tools on this sidebar as well. And these are all custom to your experience. And what I mean experience is when you log into your account on the top corner right here, you'll see my experience is you can change it with because it's highlighted. And I have primary and faculty, and it would change if I were a student, as you see here. So on the student facing side, this is what I see when I use it for my classes. But for your use cases, I would suggest stick into here, and you can see the different tools they offer. So let me run through a quick example, and then I'll get into the more collaboration feature. But just to kind of show you what we can do here, as different bots, bot stacking, and such. Today I'm just going to ask, hey, today's news headlines. And as you can see here, I'm calling Perplexity, which is live to the internet. And you can see as it loads, it'll not only provide me the actual context from live news headlines today, but on top of that, will shoot me out to real live links. And so I know sometimes it takes a little bit, but it does load. And then I'll show you an example after of what we do with bot stacking as well. And then while I'm at it, while this takes a little bit to load, I'll show you the other features right here on the right. And so you can see right here on the right here, this is our knowledge bank. And our knowledge bank is very similar to the memory in ChatGPT, where you can drag and drop files that you have from your computer. So not only can you upload files from your computer here, and you can see it right here, I have just files from my computer of different rubrics and image that I was making for a custom bot. But once you upload it, it actually stays inside our thing, and you can go and call different parts from knowledge, so you don't have to keep going back and dragging and dropping from files. It stays local in Boodlebox as well. So I'm just going to quickly reload this and see. I apologize about that taking a while. But you can see right now that it loaded up our news headlines for today, and it linked them out here. So you can see these, once it kind of loads fully through, it'll link to all of these different websites, and you can see that it shot me out to here. And these are actual real links. So when you're doing research, you can actually verify your sources, which is kind of keeping that cognitive ability in play and making sure you're actually thinking through things and not just taking the answers as is. But the best part about this is that on the bottom right here, you can see that I have what's called coach mode turned on. And coach mode basically is like a custom assistant for you as you work through with different AI models, and it coaches you or helps you prompt better. So you can see right here, it's called Innovative Primary Teaching Application. So it's kind of read my other chats from earlier, knowing that I was building out custom solutions for primary teachers. And you can see it was making a game, which is actually pretty cool. It was like headlines for classroom. So it's kind of applying your use case or what you guys would be applying in the classroom to a certain to the chat we had above, which is pretty cool. On top of that, not only can I take what this information gives me, but now here I can call in one of my favorites, ChatGPT, and be like, hey, oh my gosh, I can't spell. Hey, can you take this and make it an email? And so what I did right here, once I load this up, this is what we call bot stacking. And so here, all of this data right here that Perplexity provided, all of these headlines, ChatGPT recognizes in the chat and goes up, reads it, and verifies it, and then creates its from the prompt creates the email that I requested. So you can see right here the subject, the greeting, and then the entire email as well. And so there's two real reasons why this is important. First, when you're stacking tools, you're getting the best of both worlds. So obviously, ChatGPT is not as advanced on internet research as Perplexity is. Perplexity's main goal is to just get you trusted sources from the internet. And so what it does is you're stacking the best of both worlds. You're using the best of web research LLM, and then obviously analytical, which ChatGPT is an analytical LLM. It's very good for processing different requests and data. So you're able to stack both tools and their best use cases on top of each other. And the second part of that as well is reducing hallucinations. So because we're multiplying the use of our bots, we're using,
Yeah,
sorry.
and I'm sorry to interrupt again. No, that's great. And because it reduces hallucinations and it makes it more accurate, it's actually triangulating the data because it's pulling it, like it's making it more accurate. And therefore, as you're using this tool, we go back to how we're modeling it for students and teaching them media literacy, right? So like you have the human in the loop, we're verifying, we're looking at what's happening in the internet, we're looking at what the analytical output is. And by doing this and calling in these different bots together, we're reducing the hallucinations or the inaccuracies with the LLMs. Go ahead, sorry.
So as I was saying, like she said, as you stack bots, they basically kind of don't trust each other. And so they kind of compare answers and they verify it at once. So like Jess said earlier, they're really good at kind of like just giving you an answer and they don't like lying with a smile in a sense. Like they are so trained to kind of give you an answer that whatever you throw at them, they're going to try to throw something back. And so when you stack bots, it reduces hallucinations up to 95%. So it's really, really good to kind of take this in mind when you're prompting and use as many bots as possible to kind of get the best answers and also increase your workflow as well. So we talked about access, and then now we also want to talk about collaboration, which is one of my favorite features on this platform as well. It's unique to any other thing that I've really tried out here. And so this example right here is a shared folder. So what you can do up here is in this chat, if I wanted to add Don or Jess, whoever of us in this chat who wanted to collaborate with me, I would go up here and click in this corner and copy this link. What that does is give you real-time access to a chat. And not only can we interact with multiple large language models, we can also interact with each other like a messaging, like a Telegram or a WhatsApp thing with the LLMs in unison, which is really, really cool. So here's an example of a shared folder. So same kind of concept of a shared chat, just on the folder level. And these folders just house different chats in one thing. So you can see right here that a teacher was opening a class reading, and these different students responded to that shared folder, kind of throwing in their chats into one folder. And so you can see these students were able to interact with a reading right here in the knowledge, which is the Plato's Republic PDF. And they were chatting, sorry, just going back to the top. They were chatting with the bot itself. So the instructions that it gave it, and then the bot responded with these instructions. The student hero uploaded the PDF through our knowledge bank, and then was after he said completed the reading, it was asking him analytical questions about the reading, and he was going back and forth, proving his knowledge, proving what he knows about the reading through this program. And then after, he was able to share it with his teacher, and that teacher was going to be able to go and read the chat and then grade him on that work, which is pretty cool. Another cool feature, which I personally use as a college student, is using it for group project work. For obviously not as useful in the lower grade levels, but when you're kind of getting up in the middle school, high school levels, you can see right here that I was able to use this for a research project with a student. Her name was Samantha. It was kind of way back when, but we were able to chat in real time, adding notes. And so you can see I was like, hey, this can be our research base for all things Boodle. And we were uploading, we're uploading the EU's regulation on AI. And so we were able to upload this big document and then use different models to chat back and forth and kind of pull out different definitions and different things in here as well. So you can see the different she was like, can I see the key points? And she used one of our Boodlebot's text summarize bot to kind of pull out points of this regulation. And we were talking about it via text in here as well. So it's a really cool place not only to use assignments, but also collaborate peer-to-peer or teacher-to-teacher, admin-to-admin, faculty-to-faculty. It's a really, really awesome platform to kind
And
of keep that human in the loop as well.
And this is good because if your LMS doesn't have the capability of, say, discussion boards or a place for social learning or community, we know that even with online learning, it's really important for students to have that ability to collaborate. And if you don't have that, for whatever reason, because I know sometimes in our use case, we have children out of school or youth out of school, using this tool as a sidecar model, even if it's not integrated into your learning management system, allows for that social aspect, that collaborative work and that group work. So it's a really great tool for that. So go ahead.
Thank you. So I kind of want to walk you through, I kind of gave you the basis of what everything looks like outside of the bot builder, which I'll get to last. So I kind of created two unique use cases for you all to kind of follow along with of what you guys might encounter day to day. And this is kind of a basic example, but it is kind of shows you step by step the power that these tools have and what it can give you and give your time back to your students as you work through things. So the first one is I uploaded a syllabus or learning objectives for math for a second grade student class. And here I gave it a very basic prompt saying, I'm a second grade teacher. Can you help me create 10 problems based on the knowledge? And I grabbed the math word problem creator from the AI tools tab, which was on our main interface on the right side. And I can go back and show you where I got that in a little bit. But to show you here, I had then prompted it with the knowledge. So the AI tool saw my request, then read the PDF knowledge of learning assignments and went down and kind of highlighted different problems that it created. And you can see very basic here of what it shows you, and then also backs it up with visual support, kind of understanding that there's different benefits to different types of learning styles as far as word questions and then visual support as well. So kind of goes through the basics, money, time, measurements, and it makes alt 10 pretty well and extremely fast as well. This only took me probably a minute to do. And then the next thing, what's really cool was because I had coach mode on, it was able to kind of understand what I was doing in my use case and then give me instructions or tips how to best kind of do this next time. And so it's like when creating a math word problem for young learners, consider being even more specific about visual supports you need. For example, create 5 second grade math word problems about money that include 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And it explained why that was very useful as well. So because coach mode was on, I was able to then boost my understanding of what my prompt looks like and kind of help me best transform my prompt into a better solution
Yeah,
down
and
the
I
line.
was going to say this is like a real world scale that I think is important for students in the future. Because if you look, as I mentioned in the beginning of this webinar, that even if you say, I don't use AI and I don't want to use AI and I don't believe in AI, we know that we're using AI because it's integrated in almost all of the programs and products that we use every day, including if you started to notice whatever your email tool is you're using, you may have seen something that says, hey, would you like some help with writing that email? Or like, here's Copilot, or if it's Gmail. So this is sort of similar. It's like just coaching you to be a better writer, to be a better prompter, right, for a better outcome. So it's not giving you the answer. It's not saying write this exactly, do this exactly, but it's guiding you, and it's helpful for a teacher as well to be better at prompting to get that better output, to then get the better learning outcomes that you want to achieve. And over time, you'll get better at the prompting. Go ahead.
Thank you. And so what I did here was because I kind of knew that prompt was lacking a little bit of context, I actually loaded up our lovely prompt bot, which is honestly one of the most useful bots on our platform. What this does is basically improve your prompt. So I threw it in here and I was like, how can I make this prompt better? And I threw the exact same prompt that I called from the top over here. And prompt bot was like, okay, I understand what you're asking. And it was able to then improve my prompt. And I literally just copy and pasted this into the same bot above again. And you can see here, it kind of fully understands what I'm asking and step by step pulls out specify, the structure, the context, and the alignment. So it's really kind of breaking down everything I was asking from that very simple one sentence prompt into this multi-step, multi-paragraph prompt, which is really cool. And so to make it fun, because I love superheroes, favorite superhero Spider-Man, and obviously make it more relatable for students, I then asked PromptBot to make some edits to that previous prompt. And I said, can you make it superhero themed, specifically Marvel superheroes? And so all I really did from the top to this one was just make it superhero themed. So it's like includes superhero themed visual supports, these superheroes that I listed. Um, and it goes down here. And so kind of the same thing. And I threw this actual prompt into, I apologize, down here to our math problem. Yeah. So I threw that prompt into our math word problem creator. And you can see here now it created a new word problem set for second grade level students in math. And you can see Spider-Man problem, Hulk building block, all these very kind of customized things. So you can kind of customize to your students what they're interested in to kind of make it relatable and using these tools. And so pulling this out and kind of saving yourself some headache from creating these things step by step and by hand as well. And obviously you can keep editing these as well. So you can see kind of what it breaks down and uses the superhero that I put in mind, and then obviously it includes the visual support as well, which is something I added in the syllabus or learning objectives that I uploaded in my knowledge. And if I were wanted to share this with other students as well, or sorry, other teachers in a certain grade level, if there's a group of teachers who are creating a problem set together, I would be able to add them to this chat. They can basically then go and access, give me feedback via the chat function, and then go on and then copy and paste this or change it however they see fit on in this chat as well. And to chat, I forgot to mention this earlier, and I do apologize. You can do one of two options. You can do a / and it'll cross out and be like, hi, this is for week 1. And it'll pull it down to the bottom right here. Or you can also do on the sidebar right here, put it in a message mode, and you can constantly chat and message back and forth. And it's really good for even yourself, kind of marking things and going back to reading as well, which is pretty cool. So additionally, I kind of understood that this was a problem set, and if there's ability to have students take this home, it would be really powerful for students to be able to, chat back and forth if they're practicing with problems. And so second grade may be a little low, but for those higher, maybe middle school and high school level teachers, there's ability to build custom bots. And I wanted to share with you a custom bot that I built. And so from the main face, you can go right here under this top tab called our bot builder. And this basically gives you access to build custom GPTs or custom bots. And so you can see right here, if I already built this bot. So you would build, if I wanted to build a new one, I can go right here and build this, hit this blue button. But just to show you what it looks like on the back end, I can hit here the edit bot blueprint, and I can show you exactly what I did. And it was really simple. So obviously this looks like a lot to look at right now, and it looks, small text and such, but all I really did was upload the knowledge that I wanted to go off of. Oh, I actually didn't for this one. I apologize. I put it in the instructions, but you can go in and add the learning objectives here via the knowledge. So from here, I would be able to add the second grade math skills, which I already uploaded, and attach those, which is pretty cool. And then what's really cool is you don't have to know anything about building a GPT. You can actually go in and use the assistant, and it boots you out right here. And if you start a chat with our bot building assistant, you can go in and talk to our bot building assistant saying, hi, I am looking to build a math tutor base for second grade math. Can you make custom bot instructions for that? And then what I can do here is upload that context as well from my knowledge, which was right here. And from there, 1 sentence prompt and my knowledge, send it off. And it's basically in 30 seconds, builds you a custom bot instruction. So it gives you basically everything you need to know about building a custom bot, which is really cool. And then I can go back in from here and copy and paste all of this and put it back into my name, the alias, the description, the greeting, and then most importantly, copy and paste the instructions. And so I kind of went through some examples with it right here. And you can see that it greeted me really nicely. And then it was able to then give me some problems to work through. And then not only did it not just give me the answer, it tested me and then tried to push me as well, as because I knew how to do basic addition. It was trying to challenge me in a certain sense later on in the chats, but you can see how it structured itself for different things, which is pretty cool. I also have one more simple use case I wanted to walk through, very similar to earlier with the math.
And
and
I can
all the
I can talk a little bit how it could be directly related to Jamaica's curriculum, like just like as an example. So before we started the presentation, I was playing around with some of the knowledge that I have of the, or we call it knowledge or the content base, people may call it. So we have the curricular guidance for grades 1 through 3 of math and English. And we have different various worksheets that the Ministry of Education has created before. I have content that's available on the Learning Passport, for example, all of the Khan Academy YouTube videos, and all of their transcripts from those videos. I can use those, for example, as my content base and upload that into my bot, and then I can create my bot and sort of like be able to query it and be like, okay, what kind of content here, like what kind of content do I have on the Learning Passport that would help me to teach about place value? And because I uploaded, say, some PDFs or some transcripts from the videos or some storybooks or whatever the topic is, it would then query back to me and it would say, or answer back to me, it would say, oh, you could go to this course and teach with this particular video. And you may say, okay, what else can I do besides use this video? And you could say things like, I only have limited devices. Give me some ideas of how to teach in a blended learning format in a station rotation, right? I co-authored the Blended Learning Handbook, which maybe some of you might know about if you're in the Learning Passport system or heard about it. And I'm in the process of building a bot that will help you to implement some of the methodologies from the Blended Learning Handbook. So it could be helpful for teachers as a teaching tool to teach and learn in physical spaces using digital materials from potentially any platform, but we could specifically use it for how do I use the content from my Learning Passport to teach and learn? Or it's like, hey, I have a topic to teach and learn with, and I don't have a lot of materials. Like, where could I get some and how can I get some ideas? And also thinking about inclusive teaching and learning, right? How many of you do, like, we talked about like differentiated learning and coming up with ideas of how to reach all. How do we reach all of our students? And we can build in these sorts of instructions into our learning outcomes, into our personality of our bot too, to sort of be like this, say I'm a head teacher, a teacher trainer, I'm a pre-service teacher and I want to help teachers teach more inclusively. I can build in those sorts of instructions, like help teachers understand how to teach better with children who may have different abilities or disabilities. And here's some guidance of universal design for learning, for example, right? So there's so much that you can do here, whether it's topic-based or theory-based or a combination of both, from all different levels. So sorry, go ahead, Pearson. I just wanted to like interject like how this is really specific to the use case in Jamaica, and just the pedagogy piece. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. The kind of just on the flip side, I wanted to show just a different, just simple use case for reading and writing. Obviously, there's important core skills for primary education. And so just kind of to show you the uses that we have. You saw with the math, I kind of worked through building a problem set, but you can also do reading plans, lesson plans, and such, make it fun, make it interactive. And so again, started with some reading objectives that I threw in there to the knowledge bank via my computer files, and it stayed in there. And then after, I was able to then go in, ask a super simple prompt again. Can you help me make 3 unique reading plans for the month of September, each planned for its own week? Something that I think many teachers would do. And so right here, I was able to then spit this out, given the guided reading planner with that very limited information of just that one prompt and that knowledge without any other books that I mentioned or anything like that. Just kind of what I'm expecting of students. And it broke it down, time, each reading objective, um, apologies, and then also kind of different activities we can do with the students as well, which is really cool. And it planned it out. So you can kind of see here, I'll scroll slowly so y'all can read this quickly. And it went through and did it for week 2 as well. Informational text features being the core learning objective for that week. again, thing time and different activities as well as activities at home as well, which is cool. So it kind of plans out an entire schedule, which is really awesome. And so kind of going a little down here, it gives me the prompt saying, how can I do this better? And so what's really cool is this is actually a prompt engineering tip, which I was trying to look for as well earlier, is this literally gives you step by step how to make your prompts better and how to make the response from the AI bot better as well. So it's kind of how can AI help you is what I think Coach Mode is. And this is really, I think, useful. Even as a higher level AI user myself, I still come back to Coach Mode and reference it every once in a while because you never know what different quirks and features you can kind of find AI can do. And so kind of to expand on that, and I know there's some questions about bot stacking. This is kind of another example of bot stacking where I took that first bot, which was planning a reading lesson. And then I asked Perplexity, I was like, okay, well, I have this reading lesson now. Can you go back and then look at this and say, what materials might be helpful to make this super engaging? I have a budget of $100. And so it went in and looked at my chat and said, okay, like here's some things that I think might be useful with that. Again, very limited context here, and sourced them all to different links. So you can see it shot me out. And these are links and all that stuff that you can go and research after. And it actually priced it out for me as well. And I think what the best part is, I believe on the below, yeah, it gave me another prompt saying, just saying how I could better use this as well. And then after, I was able to then build out saying, okay, can you choose the right resources for me to buy and then make a full lesson plan for me using our lesson plan bot, which I told you I'll talk about here. Laid it all out for me, gave me a whole budget, and then gave me a whole lesson plan as well, which I think is really cool. And then obviously, yes, like you can get super granular or you can be super high level depending on what knowledge you attach. And this chat was really only like 3 or 4 prompts long. So again, very limited context. The more you chat with the bot, the more intelligent it gets and understands what you need from it. And if you're really struggling, you can go reference back to the prompt bot in this little bottom function here. I have it hearted. To heart a bot to have it pop up here, you just have to go to a model or a Boodlebot and click in, and you can kind of just heart it right here. And what it does, once it's hearted, it'll come back to our favorites. And so prompt bot, I can go and call and be like, okay, paste that previous prompt in and be like, how can I make this better? I'm not getting the response I wanted. And so that's kind of all I really have to show. Is there anything else, Don, that you wanted me to cover as well?
No, I think it's great. I was just putting in there, you even have a bias check bot. Like that's one of the things that I think is probably like the hardest to mitigate because it takes the most amount of human effort. And especially for our use case, which is multicultural and very nuanced and locally specific. And so we absolutely always need the human in the loop, of course. But that's really interesting that you have that bot even there. So that's really cool. I wanted to, we did have lots and lots of questions in here as we were going through because we have, at one point, I think close to 500 people in here. So I know we don't have time to take everybody's questions, but for maybe Sabrina, if you could see if there has been any questions that are like themed, we should have ran an AI to qualitatively code our questions. I should have thought of that and made a bot just for that. No, if we can see. If we can see if there's any groups of questions besides the logistical, if you're having trouble getting into the actual course to get your certificate, please reach out to Sabrina by email. And we will, her email has been in the chat, but we can add it again. But besides that logistical question, I think some of the questions, I think, oh, and I saw Jess, you were answering a lot
I
of
did.
questions
I tried
about
to,
the
yeah, I tried to
software.
answer quite a few of them. I think a big one that I think is important to talk to is kind of the free basic version of Boodlebox
Yeah.
versus paid premium subscription. So lots of questions around that. So let me address that quickly. So in the basic version of Boodlebox, you still get access to the
Okay.
Boodlebox features. So collaboration, folders, those kinds of things. The biggest difference is that you can only use a premium model in prompt a premium model up to 5 times a day in the free version. So my recommendation to all of you as teachers, if you're using the basic version of Boodlebox, which is free, when you go in and build bots, be sure that you build them using those free models. That way you can access them. Your students on a free subscription, right, can access them. That is the biggest difference. You can still collaborate. You can still do the chat windows, all those things. It's just that you will be accessing the free versions of ChatGPT and Claude and Gemini rather than the premium versions. Everything else is pretty much the same inside of the platform and what you've seen today.
Yeah. And it's really helpful too because you have like you could have a head teacher, a department chair of like English, for example, assigning other teachers a bot that could be useful for, say, curriculum planning or for a specific course that they teach, or it could be for a grade level and they could share a particular bot where there's a one purchase for that. Like so it really can be economical for that. And again, I am not selling Boodlebox, and and there's plenty of things you can do with the free one. But it is one of the things I like the most is the safety and all of the compliance that is available here, because I think that's one of the most important things, especially where UNICEF and protecting children. So,
And
um,
all of that is in the free version, right?
right.
So all of those things, the only difference, like I said, is the premium versions of the bots. So our commitment to you as educators to that private, safe, secure, equitable space, that
Yeah.
is the same in the Boodlebox Basic.
And you can also like you don't always have to create a bot to create the same kind of experience, because you can use just a chat functionality by uploading your knowledge as you're conversing with that bot too. So if you choose not to buy the premium, you can still kind of get similar. Like you just would have to do it through the prompting and say like, hey, like I want you to act like blah blah blah, like a school leader, and I want you to review this material, and now I want you to like, you just have to do it within the chat pod, or the chat functionality versus in the bot. So there's ways around it if you don't have the premium. Oh, I did have a question for you, Jess. The functionality of, does it save your memory? So on the left-hand side, you have projects, right? So it saves your prior chats in there. Is that functionality in there for free?
Yeah, so it'll save your, so it's a little bit different than memory. We are building kind of
Right.
memory to where like
Okay.
Boodlebox knows and understands you, like when you use ChatGPT or Claude, right? But
Right.
yes, it does save all of your information. So up at the top there, you'll see that he has his folders and all of the chats and the information, the knowledge that he's added in his folders. And then below in that all chats, yes, you can go back and even if you were having an interaction and you haven't touched it for a few weeks, like you can go back into that and pick right up where you left off.
Okay. Great. Yes, are you able to create actual visuals? Yes, you're able to. We didn't show them any image generation in this thing, but if you have that, because I saw Stable Diffusion and I saw Dolly. Yep. Oh, thank you. That's nice and benign. I
I
was
love
like,
dogs.
I don't know what you're gonna put in there. Puppy is good. Okay, let's see what the puppy looks like. Integrations, any integrations like into other programs? Oh, cute.
Oh, look at that cute puppy. So currently with an LMS, if you're using an LMS, we do have SSO integration. We're working on deepening that integration, and we are also working on building out our APIs to integrate with things like Google, you know, just other entities that aren't an LMS. So those things are coming toward the end of the year, beginning of 2026.
Okay, great. Because the Learning Passport is now like open source and should be able to be integrated to in the future in the roadmap. So that's interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that would work with the API development we're doing. So.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, everyone. And yes, it's a digital image. It can be downloaded. I'm going to close this out. Again, to reiterate, to get your certificate, it's on the Learning Passport course. We will send a follow-up email for this video. And those of you who are watching on YouTube live right now or watching after, you just need to go to the course to get your certificate. And thank you so much to our lovely hosts. You were amazing. And they had come in on a very short notice. And we, again, as I mentioned, didn't know we would have such an amazing turnout. Oh, Sabrina, and Sabrina, thank you. She managed so much of the tech in the last minute craziness of getting the YouTube set up and all of the Miriam Edwards that we had. So thank you so much. Go ahead, Sabrina.
No problem, Don. It's my pleasure. I just wanted to know if you wanted me to do a quick demo of the Learning Passport since we have a little bit of time before 2:30 just to show people a visual of how to get on.
Yes, yes, please. That would be great.
Okay. I will share my screen.
And so they can see where to get the certificate.
Yeah. One second. Just trying to organize my tabs. I do have so many of them.
I know I can relate.
Okay, I'm sharing. Are you seeing the Learning Passport screen?
Mhm.
Okay, so the URL, everyone, is jamaica.learningpassport.org. And this is the signed out page. So you will see a list of all of the courses grouped by categories. And it's not just content for you as teachers or educators. There's a lot of, it's mostly geared towards children, actually. You are the secondary users. So a lot of the content that's here is for students. So you can also use it in your classroom. So grade 1, math, etc. So the ones for you are under teacher resources, and you have to first create an account. So when you click sign in, it will bring me to Google, and you just sign in with any Google. So I know if you have a ministry email, that is automatically Google, so you can use that. Or if you want to use a personal email, you can use that. And then the signed in page looks like this one. So this is my page under my courses. I have all of the courses that I have registered for. And then under course library are all of the courses that you have access to. And so the one that you're looking for to complete this course to get your certificate is under teacher resources grades K to 12. And then it's this first one here. So the name of the session that we're just in, Ped-ai-gogy, TutorBot building workshop. And then once you click register, you'll see all of the activities. So you could browse through, would have covered most of this here. There's a pre-assessment, to the
I think Sabrina's was breaking up, but she was trying to show you the first page is just an introduction page. It just shows you what the learning outcomes of the training was. So it's nothing to you have to do. There was a pre-assessment in there. So for those of you who are able to get in, could have done that. If you're doing it later, it's no big deal. There's like one really short video about Boodlebox, like, I don't know, less than 5 minutes. There's a post assessment. These are very, very, very short, like only a few questions and a survey at the end that's just asks us like how we did and how to improve. And we did try to implement some of the requests from last time, except for like we weren't able to do as many hands-on and um, uh, breakout rooms because of the large size. So please do give us your feedback. And then after that, you'll get a certificate will automatically be downloaded. Okay. Um, okay. And that the logos are on there and stuff. But yeah, if there's anything you need in addition from the ministry, like signatures or anything, just let us know in email. You can just register for any school if you don't see your school. This is a question, right, Sabrina? Or it doesn't, or you don't have to pick a school. I know that
Yeah,
not all of you are Learning Passport schools.
right,
It's Learning
right,
Passports for grades 1 through 4, but you can still
right.
keep the course onto the platform.
Yes, so to select a school, well, if your school isn't in the list, you can select NA under parish, and then you will see NA for school because all of the schools are tied to a parish. So if when you select your parish, you don't see your school, just go back to the parish list and select NA, and then you'll see NA for school and you'll be fine.
Okay. And email, and Sabrina, if you want to just put your email last one more time in there, and any technical issues, because we have so many people still in here, so it's hard to keep addressing them over and over again. Any technical issues with course, downloading, certificate, anything at all like that, please just reach out to Sabrina, and we'll get you all set up. Okay, thank you so much, and have a wonderful rest of your afternoon and weekend. And I know this is a holiday, so I can't believe you all came here on a holiday. I'm really honored. And so enjoy the rest of your holiday. Bye.